Alright, well, one of the reasons I've been putting up VODs and cat videos and stuff is I have been depressed, been going through some personal stuff, but I also bought this. As you know, I have two jobs. I have this, which is my content creator job, and then I have my job helping out my neighbor with the cats and her errands because she is physically incapacitated. So, I like getting Switch ports because, you know, they're games I already like. I have a couple of them right here, actually, that I play regularly. Battle for the Grid, I play a lot. I lab a lot on this game when I'm away from home, and then when I turn my stream on, then I usually play online. Streets of Rage 4 needs no explanation. uh, this is actually going to be my next port review series, and then I have some other random stuff, but I tend to gravitate towards ports for games I've actually played before because they're nice. Now, I have to give a few disclaimers. The first is that I have experienced some performance issues that others don't seem to be experiencing. I don't know if it's just my Switch or what. My Switch was brand new from the factory 2 years ago when you guys helped me fund it. It has been through a lot. I have used it a lot. I am in California, so we've had pretty hot weather for the past couple years. I don't know if that's affected it or not. I've seen some people mention that it has performance issues, but no one seems to mention it as much as I have. I have only played this game in portable mode so far. I was not able to find many people playing towards the end of a run on the Switch version because the beginning of the game is actually quite calm. When you get towards the end, there's a lot more going on. You have a lot more boon synergies that can tank the frame rate too. They did do an AMA earlier today, and they mentioned that they're going to, I guess, work on the performance. So if that's what's bothering you, it seems like at least some more work will be done on it. Also, when I mention the battery drain later on in the video, I'll have to also give a disclaimer that my battery is probably pretty worn out at this point. I use my Switch a lot, especially since I've been doing this job for about 2 years now, pretty much since I got the Switch, actually. So a lot of times I'd come back with it almost drained, doing my errands and stuff. So it may not drain the battery as much for you. So let's get straight into it. There's really not much to say besides their performance is not where it should be. At least for me. I don't know if my Switch is bad or not. I had someone mention to put it on system memory, and that didn't really seem to help either. But regardless, I mean, even if it isn't just my Switch, you are going to encounter rooms that are going to tank quite a bit. If you've got like really heavy boon synergies going on, or you know, there's a lot of enemies spamming projectiles and stuff, chances are the frame rate's going to drop. It's just something you have to accept. Okay, so you have no display options on this version. I mean, that's pretty standard. I don't know why you wouldn't expect that, but the accessibility options are still here. God mode in this game is actually quite nice. It just makes it easier to get back to where you were. It doesn't really make the game that much easier. If you're still careless, you're still going to die. And by the time that you have the max damage resistance, it would take you 40 deaths to get to that point. So by that point, chances are you'll probably be good enough at the game that you could turn it off and probably see very little difference. I was actually able to get to my first clear in about 5 or 6 runs on this version. It took me a lot longer on the PC version. So skill does matter in this game. It definitely is kind of weighted towards the grind and you know, finding things that actually synergize well together. But that's pretty common in most roguelites. It's just a little bit heavier here. Okay, so cross saves are coming at some point. Obviously, there's only 3 versions of this game. There's this version, there's the Steam version, and then there's the Epic Game Store version, which was the first version. They had, I think it was a year of exclusivity on the Epic Game Store, and then they, once the contract was up, they put it on Steam. So that will be coming at some point. So, you know, if you're one of those people that has like 700 hours in this game or whatever, and you don't want to start over because of the new version with all the new features and stuff, then I would recommend waiting. But I was only 20 hours into this. I'm actually almost back to where I was. Maybe in like 6 or 7 more clears, I'll be back to where I was. So if you're not that far into the game, you can probably just play it just fine right now, but eventually there will be cross saves. It's nice that they're doing that, though. A lot of Switch ports don't have that kind of functionality. This is definitely a game you can put a ton of time into, so it's nice that they're acknowledging that some people have, have played the crap out of this game. I think it's actually pretty commendable. Alright, so let's just do some quick gameplay here. The resolution is actually quite a bit lower in docked mode. I think it's only running at 720p, which is kind of bad, but not really.
All right, one more time.
All right, so let's play through the first world here. Hey, a hammer.
Perfect.
Sure. I actually really like the God mode in this game because it doesn't just make the game easy, it just makes it a little bit easier to get started. Or in the case of this game, you know, if you played the other versions, you can at least kind of get back to where you were quickly, but you will have the option of transferring your save later. Here, the new aspect for the fist is pretty awesome, so I'm hoping to get that at some point on PC.
Here they come. Get out.
Sure, let's get more keepsakes.
You've shown me warmth and generosity.
An offering well suited for the season there, young.
I'm in your debt, great goddess Demeter.
The mark of chaos is upon you, isn't it?
Stronger.
Let's go for Athena. On this run, my only real objective is to get more keys so that I can get the next batch of upgrades for the mirror. I think one of the things that makes people really like this game is not just the story. Obviously, the story is a big part. Even I, somebody who doesn't really play video games for story, I like the characters in this game and how they interact and stuff. But what's really nice about this game is the way it's designed so that no matter how bad your run goes, you're always making progress towards something, even if it's just progressing in the dialogue tree to actually unlock things later on.
Take heart, though you.
I actually think that's pretty awesome. Definitely are some roguelites I've played where you have a crappy run, it doesn't really feel like you've done much. This game, the progression is actually quite well done, so no matter how bad your run is, you're making progress in some aspect. Be it progression or dialogue, and dialogue in this game is actually pretty closely related to progression.
Good enough to eat. Where could it be?
Security.
Farewell.
Worthless wretches.
Peace and quiet.
See, it's starting to chug a little bit. Like I said, people haven't seemed to report it happening as much as it is for me. I don't know if I just have a problem with my Switch or not, but I have seen some people mention it.
Bit of a break. That's better.
It's also just kind of the fact that there's like only one video
Place of calm and respite, whilst perhaps
I was able to find of someone actually demonstrating the frame rate with the frame rate counter. I do not have the equipment to do that myself, but they were only playing in the first part of the game, so it definitely does get worse later on. I think the fact that it will have cross-save, even if they're not able to fix their performance to, you know, where it's 60 FPS all the time, which, considering how many variables there are in this game, there's a lot more variables in this game than your average roguelite, because there's like thousands, hundreds of thousands of build combinations in this game. So finding very specific ones that might tank the frame rate more than others, it seems like it's actually impossible to do so.
Don't spend it all on one
You
place.
kind of have to give them a little bit of a little bit of flack or leeway there.
this is for you. I trust the riverboatman captain.
Yeah, Doom kind of sucks. Doom's pretty bad in this game, at least from what I remember.
I bet it's Meg again.
Like I said, having cross-save will definitely help alleviate
Not quite.
any problems you have with the frame rate, since you'll be able to make progress on both versions.
You made it all this way.
Wish you could join me, Electo. Want me to put in a good word?
Oh, you know, I'd rather have my...
unlock a hidden aspect of my weapons.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. I'm not going to play through a whole run. I don't think people like watching full runs on Switch Port Review Series videos. I should mention that I did a run earlier today on my shift, and it ate about a third of my battery. So that's about, I'd say about 30 to 33%, because I had it at 100% before I left, and it's my neighbor's house, so it's like a minute walk away. So you're looking at about 30% drained battery. On the V1 Switch, that's been used for a while. My battery is probably quite a bit below max capacity at this point. I know that the new versions of the Switch actually have a better battery, but if you're on one close to launch like I am, I got mine about a year after launch, then you can expect maybe 20 to 30% battery drain for playing this. It definitely feels a lot like Diablo 3. Diablo 3 is pretty taxing on the Switch too, and you couldn't really play that game without some kind of power bank or just being actively plugged into a charger for very long. So that's kind of an issue too. I have seen a lot of other people mention that as well. I know that the performance issues, I seem to have way more performance issues than others, but pretty much everybody has mentioned that this game is a battery vampire. So if that bothers you, there's definitely a lot of other roguelites you can play on Steam that won't have that issue, like Wizard of Legend and stuff. But this is a pretty intensive game. You know, it has a very stylized art style, but there's a lot going on. I can see why the Switch could have trouble running this. It runs pretty well. I have noticed it does seem to drop inputs quite a bit when it's dropping frames. Like I said, some people have been having less issues with that than I am, but like I said, they did do an AMA actually yesterday by the time you guys see this, and a couple people that were answering the AMA mentioned that they're going to be looking at performance and stuff. Either way, it probably would be best to get this when cross saves are out, if you already have the game on PC, because then you can just do cross progression. There's not many games like that on the Switch, really. The only other one I can really think of that's not like a free-to-play game would be Battle for the Grid, actually. The only thing that's not cross-progression in that is the DLC. But everything else, your character levels and everything, is all cross-progression. So it's actually quite nice that they're doing that. My guess is that they were probably told by Nintendo to get it out for the Direct Mini, which happened last week. That was the shadow drop for this Nintendo Direct Mini, was this game, and I think like something else as well. So I guess they couldn't get the cross save ready, but it seems like it will be coming soon. I think they said by the end of this year, which is only like barely 2 months away at this point, so you won't have to wait long. Overall, it's a pretty good port. I think this game actually lends itself quite well to a portable format, even if it did not have cross-save, because the runs are very rarely more than 30 to 40 minutes long. One of my biggest concerns with playing this game in early access when I bought it was that they were going to make the runs like 90 minutes long or something, and there'd be far too much attachment. You definitely can get screwed over by RNG in this game. The skill will only take you so far. You definitely do have to have a pretty decent knowledge of what synergizes with what you're trying to do and what doesn't. So I'm glad they didn't make the runs like way longer than I thought. But having the runs only be about a half an hour to 40 minutes, on average it would be probably about 35 minutes. It actually works quite well. You can knock out a run of this during a break or something pretty easily. Then you have access to sleep mode too. Anyway, that's it. I will see you guys later. I'll probably be doing most of my content for this on PC version for now. This will probably just be my away from home second job file, and then I'll probably transfer my file over when the patch comes out. Thanks for watching.